So the next gift to be acknowledged is the gift of healing any unresolved past traumas. Many of us have had traumatic experiences in the past, many of which are not yet resolved, that still have a great deal of emotional trauma upon them. And so what we want to do is we want to deactivate the negative emotional charge. Many of us have been hearing of how we can change the past. I was given a download just 3 days ago about the access code to changing the past. And Creator told me to call it Alchemical Memoration. See, alchemy is where we transform darkness into light, pain into bliss, lead into gold, something of a lesser nature into something greater. It is the alchemy. So this is alchemical memory. So think about something that may not be resolved for you, that was traumatic. So what we want to do is shift the dial of awareness to a completely different version of reality. Like, what would we have preferred, or what would we prefer instead of the trauma that took place? Now, it doesn't alter the fact that the trauma happened, but what we're going to do is deactivate the trauma, to erase the negative emotional charge from the trauma. Just as we were able to during the days of the cassette tape. If we had something on that cassette tape that was no longer important to us, we'd put it in the recorder and tape over what was there. We still passively would remember what was on there, but it was no longer actually on the tape. And so this is how we erase negative frequencies, remembering the past in a good way, so that we are then like a house that appreciates in value and is now worth so much more because the equity has expanded. So we're going to expand our soul equity, our mental, emotional, spiritual equity, by taking the negative emotional charge off of past traumas. Feel that reality. Now when we shift the dial of our awareness to a version of reality that we prefer, we're not manufacturing that version of reality, because all realities exist as infinite possibilities in the quantum field of infinite possibilities in the mind of God, as well as in our own individual consciousness, because each of us are a microcosm of the consciousness of God, a microcosm of the quantum field of infinite possibilities, the unified field. So see it right now. Whatever that trauma was, see the version of reality that you prefer. Just like turning the dial from one station to another, turning now to that channel of benevolent blessings, fruitfulness, where everything was completely different. Even if it was something that was traumatic based upon a relationship that you were in. See, it might have went down in a very negative way. So don't breathe all of your life force into that negative thing that happened in that relationship of the past. Shift the dial of your awareness to a completely different version of outcome, a completely different version of relationship with that person. It doesn't mean that you change the person, but you can absolutely change the way that that person emotionally and mentally lands for you. Because even when we have the greatest difficulties in our relationships with a person, when we look to the multiverse, we will find so many versions of reality where we get along famously with them. we have their back and they have our back. And so when we shift the dial of our awareness to these elevated versions of connection, we are engaging in the alchemical memory, the alchemical memoration. We're choosing to remember an event differently, to remember it in the way that we want it to be. Feel that and receive these tones as a greater expansion of that awareness. This poem, dedicated to you, to me, and all of us. I call it, I Do Take Me. I love myself with all my heart. Eternal knowing, God impart. No more hatred, no more pain, legacy of heaven mine to claim. Once I really hated me, a self-induced catastrophe. Others began to hate me too. Hate's reflection became my due. When I look in any mirror, each reflection is my own. If I dislike that which I am, rejection by others will be shown. In self-acceptance let me grow, to hereby let all others know. I want them to accept me too, they only follow what I do. I ask myself to marry me, to thus fulfill my destiny. I promise always to be true, self-love and honor I am due. Sweet self, I'm sorry for the pain. Forgive and love me once again. I want me for eternity, a better lover than to be. Now every bond is sweeter too. For loving me is loving you. Within the temple of heaven's house, I do take me to be my spouse.